We're buying more furniture in our office.
Oh, boy.
We should do it.
Laugh about that every day, I think.
All right, you ready to go? Call the meeting to order. Will everyone please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis.
Here.
Councilwoman Peterson. Here. Councilman Tinella.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Vargo.
Here.
Mayor Sakawa.
Here. Adequate notice of this meeting was duly provided to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and the Star Ledger by email and published in an annual schedule of meetings on December 27, 2018, filed with the Township Clerk and posted on the Public Bulletin Board in the Municipal Building Lobby in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first meeting of the new year. Happy New Year, and welcome. Tonight, we're going to start our meeting off with the extraordinary business of the Township Council, and that is going to be to present our Recreation Advisory Board Awards, and we're very happy to be honoring two very special people who helped this community out immensely, and in order to start that, I'm going to ask Councilman Tinella, who's also our Rec Board liaison, to go up to the podium and begin the award.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I think for those of you who don't know, each year the Cedar Grove Recreation Advisory Board recognizes individual or individuals who go above and beyond contributing to the community and educating our students. This year, we're very fortunate to recognize two of our residents, Dave Schoner and Francine Faeta. I'll be presenting the award to Dave, and I asked Councilwoman Peterson if she would present the award to Fran. So, Dave, if you want to come up here and join me, please. For those of you who don't know Dave, and I think everybody recognizes Dave by those handlebar mustaches. Dave's been volunteering in our town for as long as I can remember in many ways. I think one of our first memories of Dave volunteering is when the Board of Education had one of the first really successful referendums, and Dave put together a video that was really eye-opening to all of us, especially to a lot of us who, and I see Fran shaking her head too, who went to that high school, when you realize I remember the ceiling sinking in the high school and those windows shutting the way they did. But I mean, it was through your hard work that helped pass that referendum, educating all of us in town, and you continue to volunteer in town, and up until the point where you created Cedar Grove Waves 4 years ago, and it's for years we've been, ever since the 9/11 attacks here in town, we've been recognizing those who have fallen, especially our own residents. But 4 years ago, when you decided to create Cedar Grove Waves, you really went above and beyond, and it's each year since those 4 years ago when you did it, it's grown into to what we just had this past year in 2018 when the town council and the Board of Education came together. I think all of us who have children in town have taken a moment to go to the high school somewhere through when you first put that tribute up until when you take it down, you walk through with your children, and it's really an educational opportunity for the kids to understand what happened and the importance of remembering each year. And I know, just from knowing you, the amount of time and the countless hours you put in, along with the faculty at the high school, the students at the high school, student volunteers, and other volunteers in town. So for that, we want to take this opportunity and thank you for everything you do for our town. On a side note, Dave also serves as the Vice President of Cedar Grove Board of Education. So I just want to thank you, and on behalf of the Town Council, for your service to our community. I want to present you with this plaque, and it reads, Dave Schoner, the Cedar Grove Waves, thank you for your contribution, dedication, and commitment to the youth and residents of Cedar Grove, and making a difference in the lives of many in the township of Cedar Grove. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much. Wow, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was interesting because 8 years ago, when I was sitting down at the dinner table with my kids, we were talking about September 11th, and the three of them really had no clue about what went on or even the toll of what went on. And it kind of, out of that kind of bore that how would you educate or involve young people to try to get involved and also realize what the toll was, the amount of lives that were lost and stuff like that. And so we just, it came out from that, having the flags, involving the students and having them be in there and have it be something that would be more of a long-term and have the community come together. And it was really exciting this past year to actually do a joint ceremony in the morning with the Town Council and the Board of Ed. It was really nice. I appreciate this. Thank you very much. And, someone asked me the other day, it was interesting when I was talking about this, well, when do you stop? And I was like, well, why would you stop? It's not about stopping. It's about constantly continuing and going on. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Peterson?
Thank you, Mayor. Francine, would you like to come up, please? Like being back at the Centennial meetings. So, Fran, you are here tonight, and we are honoring you, and it's so very well deserved. So I have a few words I would like to share with you. Francine has been a member of the Recreation Advisory Board from 2005 to 2018. She was a chairperson and vice chairperson for many years. Fran has been actively involved with the Cedar Grove Junior Baseball and Softball League for many years. Fran was a rec softball coach and then became the travel softball commissioner and a rec commissioner. She was also on the steering committee of the league and participated in some way on almost every committee the league has. Fran not only was an active softball parent, but also a baseball parent. Fran was a very big advocate of the league, making changes to keep up with evolving times and found ways to work with the people in the township to keep the kids playing on all levels and keep the registration numbers up. Now Fran has taken her softball passion and helps with the fundraising at the Cedar Grove High School level. She also served as the girls' recreation basketball and soccer coach. For many years, she ran the Halloween parade the Cedar Grove Rec Department held every year. She was an active member of the South End School FSA. She was president for 2 years, treasurer for 2 years, and worked on numerous committees over her time at South End School. She also was the lead role for creating the Reading Garden of South End School, which is beautiful to this day. Also active within the Memorial Middle School FSA, she ran very large committees, chaired TREPs, and the 5th and 6th grade socials. All events were always very successful and benefited the children of Cedar Grove. Fran also was a huge part in planning Cedar Grove's centennial celebration. She chaired the gala and fundraiser, which was a hugely successful endeavor. On a personal note, I'm lucky to call Fran a true friend. I've known Francine almost my entire life. We've danced at each other's weddings, visited each other when we brought newborn babies home, and have raised our children together here in Cedar Grove. I've always admired your tenacity and your strength, and I look up to you. Fran's husband Paul and her son Alex couldn't be here tonight, but her daughter Mia is here, who is a shining example of Fran's hard work and a role model to a lot of the girls here in Cedar Grove. And she's always ready, Fran is always ready to lend a helping hand here in Cedar Grove. Aside from all Fran has done here in her adult life in Cedar Grove, as a youth growing up here, she was an outstanding softball player, and her coach Vandermeer texted me this morning because he wanted to be here tonight and he couldn't because he had some lessons. So he texted me and asked me to read this to you. He said, I don't know if you can read something, but if you can, please do. You know him. As her former high school coach and now friend, I cannot be more pleased and honored for the work Fran has done for so many. Her love for God, family, and community is second to none. Fran has never stopped for a moment, even when faced with a horrible disease. May we all celebrate her achievements and give thanks to who made this possible, Coach. So that's from Coach. So congratulations, I know, congratulations. I love that. Congratulations, and thank you so much for all you've done for Cedar Grove. Here's your plaque. It says, "Thank you for your contribution, dedication, and commitment to the recreation programs, leagues, and residents of Cedar Grove, and making a difference in the lives of so many in the township of Cedar Grove."
Thank you
So
very much.
congrats, honey.
I have to say something now because of David. Okay. Thank you. I want to thank Marisa. Thank you, Marisa. I've had a lot of fun working with you in the last couple of years. But yes, I was forced to stop volunteering very quickly, very suddenly, I should say. And her reading all that stuff off made me tired. And and it realized, but I miss it, you know. And when I got this award, I said, oh my goodness, I do miss volunteering. So doctor says 2019 is my year, so let's hope. And then maybe I could get back in some things. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all. Thanks, everybody. And
Well, thank you both, and two more deserving people there are not in our town, so I thank you both for your dedication and for all the great things that you do to help not just Cedar Grove, but the youth in Cedar Grove, and we look forward to more from the both of you in the future. Thank you. Anybody have any comments before I move on?
Take a picture. Want to take a picture? Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Want to take a picture?
Yeah, can we ask you to come up for one final picture before you sail off into the sunset? Get the whole council in the front?
Yeah. Want to do that? Sure.
A little bit closer, maybe. A little friendlier. Here we go. I'm just gonna take a bunch and hope for the best. Thank you.
Oh, congrats, David. Thank you for all you do.
Okay, moving on the agenda, may I have a motion for item 3A, approval of minutes?
Make a motion to approve, Mayor.
I'm sorry, let me read that whole thing. 3A, to consider approval of minutes of regular public meeting for December 3rd, 2018. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conjuras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 3B, to consider approval of minutes of special public meeting December 17th, 2018. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conjuras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 4, rejection of bid. 4A, to consider resolution rejecting bid for rehabilitation of VFW water tank.
Mayor, if I may, real briefly, just provide some background. We did a
Yes,
bid
please.
review of the responses for this bid. 3 of the lowest bidders, their bids were deficient, so it's our recommendation that the bid be rejected and the project be put back out to bid.
Thank you, Mr. Zelinski. Do we have a motion to put this project back out to bid?
So moved?
To reject and
Reject.
To reject.
To rebid the bid and rebid it. Right. Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conjuras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. At this time, the meeting is open to residents of the township wishing to be heard regarding any item that is on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on past that to item 6, reports of township officials. Mr. Tucci, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Few quick items. In the packet, you'll see a memo from the Cedar Grove Fire Chief addressed to me. It's regarding the New Jersey All Hazards Incident Management Team, and what we're seeking is authorization to sign this memorandum. What it allows us to participate with other agencies throughout the state of New Jersey, and in the event that there's an incident in-state or even out-of-state, the special unit will be called up and deployed no matter where it is needed. The New Jersey State Police administer the program. As of right now, we only have one person who is expressing interest from the fire department, but eventually more people will, and that is Fire Captain Joe LaParry at this point. There's specialized training that comes along with this. There's really no cost to us because we have a volunteer department. If these people are deployed, they're deployed on their own. Any loss of wages due to deployment gets reimbursed from the state of New Jersey through the hazmat system. So we're seeking authorization to sign this agreement so that Cedar Grove as a whole and members of our fire department can belong to this unit. I think it's a good thing for the township. It's prestigious for our fire department. It's good for our residents of our state and good for basically communities as a whole throughout this country. So you can act on it later on, so I'll just move on. I just wanted to give you an overview on what was being proposed later on. The second item I had, as you all know, it's that time of the year again, budget time. So in the packet, I have a memo indicating that we're suggesting dates of Monday, January 28th, Tuesday the 29th, and if needed, Wednesday the 30th. If that doesn't work for the governing body, the alternate dates are February the 11th and 12th with the 13th as an alternate. So whatever your pleasure is, just that we have statutory deadlines that we have to get this done. So I leave it up to you to decide. Just I need to know so that I could schedule and advertise it appropriately.
How soon do you need to do, like, right now?
I'm available on those dates, Mayor, as they're posted here, the three of them, I'm good.
Yeah, the January?
These two,
Councilman?
yeah, January.
Likewise.
I am as well.
Councilman? Okay. All right, so we'll set it down for January 28th and 29th. Traditionally, we really don't go to the 30th.
Meeting start time,
Uh,
Mr. Tucci?
We were starting at 5 o'clock. I don't know if that still works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier is better because, I think we could wrap it up a lot sooner if we did that. And also, we would like to advertise, we'll keep it very small, staff meeting immediately following at 7. So we'll run that from 5 to 7, and we'll keep it short so that it doesn't run that long. Just any odds and ends that may come up and need to be addressed by the governing body. Is that acceptable? Moving right
That's
along,
fine.
the governing body had asked me to write a letter to the county executive expressing interest in possible acquisition of county property for a community center. I did that. Hopefully, they'll get that and give me some response. I know there was some informal discussions going back and forth, but we'll see what the county executive comes back with. But I just wanted to follow up on that.
Mr. Tucci, I think just for the public's edification, I think it's important. When Councilman Tanella and I had discussed that, I don't think it was being videotaped, so some members of the public might not be aware or familiar with the request that we made. And, maybe just a quick overview might be helpful to shed some light on that. And, Councilman Tanella and I had requested that we take a look to see if there's a possibility for a rec/community center in the town and to explore some options for a possible facility. One of which Councilman Tanella had suggested was the police academy. It's on, what is it? That's on Fairview, right?
Grove.
On Grove. On Grove, and that's what the letter was for, to see if that would be possibly for sale. I don't know, Councilman Tanella, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's a fair assessment of, I think that, the police academy is an existing building, and it has all the facilities in there that we would want, at least for initial, a community center. So if the county was looking to sell that, I know Ms. Hartwick, you're here tonight, maybe you can remind the county executive. It'd be an ideal location for us, to have, especially around the corner from our athletic facilities as well, too.
Yeah, and I think we want to stress that it's not just a sports facility, we're looking to explore a facility for for the entire population of Cedar Grove, so.
And again, we're gonna.
Explore.
We're gonna keep that theme like we had at Panther Park.
Right.
It's gonna be something for everyone.
And
That's what we're
And it
shooting
is,
for.
and that's where we're really trying to go towards, because we've received so much feedback from the public. We have senior citizens that are looking to do different types of classes. This would be, a rec center, a community center would be a good venue for that. And then we have going all the way down to our young recreation sports, and everybody in between.
I think the community center, I know the community center has always been something we've talked about, at least during my tenure on the council, even from when I first became a council member. I think the biggest consideration, like any decision that we made, is cost. There's the cost and the benefits associated with it. So I'm willing to, entertain it and explore it. We just got to kind of figure out what are our budgetary priorities as a council, and if this fits. And obviously, it can't hurt to ask the county executive if he's looking to sell it. Look to us first, and if we can acquire it, that'd be great.
Just along that line, this is not the only option we're exploring.
Absolutely.
Right.
We have other options on the
Yes.
table that we have our finger on, so hopefully something will come about.
Yeah. Thank you for sending that letter, Mr. Tucci.
Okay, no problem. Moving right along, in the packet, there's a request to have a block party on Fox Road. It's for South End School. I believe it's on graduation day after they let out. I discussed this already with the police chief. They want to bring some vehicles that have rides on them. We don't have any problem with it. The only thing is, we just don't want them to shut down the road with those vehicles. We can shut down the road for the kids, but we would want those vehicles parked on the side from a safety perspective and out of respect for the other residents on the street. So we have no objection to this request being approved with conditions. So I don't know what the council's pleasure is with that.
Yeah,
You're okay with authorizing
I'm
it?
gonna
objection
abstain, I'll
there.
abstain, but, yeah.
Outside of that, I have nothing else for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. Ms. Stutz,
Good evening, Mayor.
good evening.
Two things. In the packet is a memo concerning the RFP. There was a sole RFP received in response to the notice for township attorney and tax appeal attorney. I believe that's in the packet for the governing body's review. And the second item is that 2019 brings a municipal election. There are 2 council seats that will be up. And the date of the election is May 14th. Candidate packets are due to be submitted by March 11th, 4 p.m. to the township clerk's office. And the candidate packets are available in the clerk's office.
Ms. Stutz, is there any update on the polling locations since we last spoke about it? Okay.
Not yet. I do know that the clerk of the Board of Elections has been out of the office ill since before I sent the letter on personal reasons, but I called down there today. She is expected back on Monday.
Do you think it's possible that it still may change for the municipal, there's still a possibility
I'm
it could change for the
hoping-
municipal election in May?
I'm hoping
Okay,
it will.
great. Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question for you. On the township, I guess on the RFP that's here, are we acting on this now? Or would we act on, to vote on it now? Or is it?
Does it have to come up on a formal agenda?
Ultimately, there will be a resolution of
Resolution,
appointment.
you can direct what you want to happen next.
Okay.
Meaning, you could say, yes, we would like a resolution put on at the next meeting, if that's your pleasure.
Does anyone, we got one RFP, is there any objection to acting on the RFP that we received?
No, I think we should get
This is
the
for the township
resolution.
attorney. Okay.
Any objection? Mr. Tucci, there's no objection, so we can put a resolution on.
Put something on for the next meeting, if that's the council's pleasure.
And then when would that take place? When would the start date of that be?
Well, we have a meeting on the 28th. We'll have that special meeting at 7 o'clock. You can have a resolution on, and then you could probably for the next meeting, probably first meeting, February the 4th,
Which is the following week.
the following week, the week
Okay.
after, so.
Thank you. Mr. Zelinski,
I have no report this evening.
thank you. Reports of council members, Councilman Camboris.
I happen to have came across the paths of Mayor Ross Baraka down in Newark not too long ago, and I was talking to him about additional recreational opportunities for Essex County residents, and I asked him if it was possible that we could consider recreational fishing at the Cedar Grove Reservoir. So he's given me permission to make an announcement. It's in the works that there will be recreational fishing at the Cedar Grove Reservoir in a small section. And as soon as we find out more, he'll send a notice out for that. That's it.
Mayor, can I ask a question about that?
Yes, please.
For you, Mr. Tucci, how would that operate? I mean, how would that work, I mean, with regard to liability and whatnot? I know that's the Newark property, but I mean, what is our role, or maybe that's from Mr. Zelinski,
I
in
don't,
that decision?
I really, from my perspective, administratively, I don't think we have a role. That would be totally administered by the city of Newark, and would be their responsibility, but I'll defer to.
I would need to know more detail with respect to what size of the area.
I can give a little more information. The Newark watershed allows fishing in all the reservoirs in the northern part of the state, and Cedar Grove would be just added to that, most likely.
So if that is in fact an accurate assessment of what Newark allows or doesn't allow, we need to see what Newark requires from the other municipalities where fishing actually occurs.
That's great.
I know. It'd be excellent for our kids and residents in the surrounding communities. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Deputy Mayor Varga?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just have, I have one question and one update to provide. Over the past month, I had the pleasure of attending a grand opening at the Woodland Indoor Play Space on Pompton Ave, across the street from Esposito's. Fantastic play space for ages 0 through 5. Family-owned business and in our downtown area, and I wanted to welcome them to our community. We also had the pleasure of another business opening up in Cedar Grove, Care Chiropractic. They had their grand opening on Sunday, and you could see that we have businesses that are starting to come to our community, see what we're doing, and it's a real pleasure and a real joy to see the growth that we're seeing in our business community. I'm happy to see that and happy to support them. The other item that I have is a question for Mr. Tucci. Mr. Tucci, at one of our meetings that we had with regard to affordable housing, a gentleman raised the question about the reservoir, and that he had read something online about potential caps and there was funding approved or something along those lines. Now, I know that you and I had spoken about that afterwards, and I think it's important I want to ask the question of what do you know now that we could share with the public, because there was some concern as to whether it was going to be capped or what was going to happen. What do we know at this time?
Just to give you a little history, going retroactive. We did have residents come here, and there was a press release put out by the EPA that the city of Newark was being allocated, I believe it was $62 million to put a cap over. The following morning, I had a conversation with Eric Pennington, who's the business administrator for the city of Newark. The city of Newark had submitted a proposal to EPA 10 years prior with the proposal to cap. That is no longer in their plan. As a matter of fact, they aborted that plan probably 8 years ago. And the plan they're moving ahead with at this point is that they're going to look to put disinfecting units there, UV disinfecting unit there. There is no plan to put a cap over that reservoir as per the city of Newark at this point.
I appreciate that, and that's, I know I had followed up with you, and I wanted to just see if there was anything that changed, so thank you for following up and taking a look into that further for us.
Councilman,
That's,
may I add to that particular cap part?
Sure.
That came up, and they're having fish in there, there won't be no cap, guaranteed. That was reassured.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tucci.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilwoman Peterson?
Mayor, I don't have a report.
Thank you. Councilman
A
Tinella?
couple of quick items, Mayor. Just a couple of follow-up items from Mr. Tucci. Mr. Tucci, I see the construction ongoing on the Hilltop. Is there any update for the council, what the status of where they're at right now in the building? You have any idea?
Right
Just
now,
an update
there
for the public.
are probably 3 buildings under construction, plus there's a sales unit also there. As of the last report, I have a weekly Wednesday morning conference call with Cavanian representatives. They have 8 units under contract that are sold as of right now. And that's where we are. They're moving very, very fast. As a matter of fact, they asked for additional inspection time, which they're paying out of their own escrow of our plumbing, electrical, and building inspectors, so that they can get inspections on a more regular basis than just the times that our people are here. But things are moving fast and furious there. But like I said, as of last Wednesday, 8 units are sold.
And then for our residents, anybody who's interested in purchasing a unit, there's a sales building there.
Right.
And also for the affordable housing, I know a lot of us have been contacted about that. There's information on our website.
On our
to go to.
website, there is a private independent company that handles the low to moderate income units. You deal directly through them, not even through KHAV. I believe the last meeting, actually, we didn't discuss it at the last conference. The conference before, there were 2,200 applications for the 90 units as the last time that we spoke. All those that qualify will be entered into a lottery, and there'll be a lottery drawing, and that's how the 90 units will be occupied, based on the drawing of the lottery.
Can I, Councilman, do you mind if I add a question onto that? You know, one of the things that we've experienced over the past year is significant amount of rain. I had, as you know, I had a resident reach out to me that I connected you with regard to a development in another community, and the runoff that he's experiencing in his yard. What are we doing, or what can be done while this is ongoing? Because this is going to be a multi-year project to ensure that the runoff or potential runoff doesn't impact the neighboring communities as they're in development.
It's curious that you mentioned that, because as part of the Wednesday morning conference, we had representatives from the Hudson Essex Soil Conservation District, who basically protects the topsoil and the drainage. And they have already been in contact with Cavanian. I guess that resident who you referred to me must have called them, and they already buttoned up temporary drainage facilities so that everything drains to the center of the facility. It's in a temporary detention basin, and it discharges at a slow rate, which is at the undeveloped rate or lesser than the undeveloped rate. So everything at this point is under control. Hudson Essex Soil Conservation District is controlling that and monitoring at this point.
One more, I apologize,
No,
Councilman. I think we talked about this at our last staff meeting as well, about the traffic with regard to some of the roads that connect Fairview and Pompton and being used as cut through. And I know that you said you had Sergeant Humphreys looking into it.
He is looking into that, yes. And how the staging's gonna go on when they open the roads. And just not to let all the traffic go out to Fairview. We're gonna push to get Keeney Road hooked up. This way that'll come back into Grove. And then people have an option to go out to Pompton Avenue, go right on Grove to Verona, or come this way, or go north. So there'll be many options for people in that development at some point. Hopefully sooner than later.
Thank you.
So one other follow-up item too, Route 23. What's the status of that? Springtime we're looking at to repave it. We've been very fortunate with this winter.
Well-
It's pretty warm.
We experienced kick the can down the road with
Yeah.
the DOT Route 23 project, because they keep making field changes, I know there's some discomfort with the contractor there who just wants to finish it, but the state's making substantial changes. The schedule right now is early spring, but that's where we are. Our big concern from the township standpoint is, why can't they finish the work behind the curb right now? There's no reason why the sidewalks, which are blacktop in front of Town Hall, where we have brick pavers, those areas can't be repaired now. Roadway, we understand that, and some of the loops on the traffic lights, we understand that. But as far as the sidewalk work and fixing and repairing behind the curb, we would like to see that done now, and we're trying to press for that.
Is there anything that we can do to try to expedite that, or you say press, is it reaching out to maybe our state representatives? And
I think
mean,
Senator Corrado, Assemblyman Rooney, and DePhillips could be helpful here, because they can exert some pressure on DOT.
And I appreciate everything you and your staff have been doing. I think it's been going almost 2 years now, and maybe even longer than that. Kick the can down the road is an understatement with this project.
Well, I'll give you a little example. They made the light here on the corner of Bowden and Route 23 active the other day. Unfortunately, the plan calls for traffic calming down the center. So what they did was they set the timing on the light to the traffic calming. We had, for 2 days, traffic at Bowden Road backed up beyond Bradford. And that was because they mistimed the light. So we had our police department call them here, 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. They were out there resetting. We had all our police officers here directing traffic to correct that issue. But we had our residents inconvenienced because they set the timing before the construction's done. I can understand the timing going into effect when all the appurtenances and improvements are made, but you do that at that time. They did it way premature. So that's just an example of some of the things that are going on. But I'm sure some of you experienced, saw it, or got a call
That
about
light,
it.
that light is now, I wasn't in that, but that light now is longer than it's ever been. And I was sitting there, I was the only car there. I was sitting there for, 2 minutes before
All I
the
can tell you
light
is,
changed.
there was no traffic on Bowden Road at that time.
Yeah. And then lastly, Mayor, just one other thing. We talked about the community center, and these projects in general. I think it'd be helpful for the council, if maybe for you, Mr. Tucci, is there a list, or there's something you can provide to the council, maybe a list of potential projects that we can analyze and maybe decide upon and focus on, and maybe to try to see, allocate some dollars to it, to actually try to make some of these, ideas a reality. I know we mentioned the community center. Something that you and I talked about in the past is even the post office next door. I know that comes out of the blue for some of us, but I mean, that building has been dilapidated forever. I know in the years past, you've reached out to, I think, U.S. representative there. You finally got them to cut the grass or what have you. But, we all know that the federal post office has been bleeding money for years, and kind of like this building that the county owns, if the federal government was ever looking to sell those assets, I mean, I don't know if we want to consider ever looking maybe to acquire that. And if we did, what we would use it for. But it's things like that, and maybe as a council, we can prioritize some projects. It'd be helpful. I know we're coming up with the budget. Maybe after the budget, in a staff meeting, if there's no objection, we could kind of prioritize, a list of projects.
Well, along that line, I was anticipating giving you a long laundry list of potential projects that we have thought of in the hopper, have been discussed.
Right.
They may not be imminent, they may be something down the road, or they may be something that you want to push up and handle right now. But you will be getting that list and some dollar figures attached to them, just to get a bigger picture on what we can anticipate down the road.
Thank you. And one other item, the field back here. So you're getting weekly updates. That's now fall of 2019 this year?
They're saying that they're going to start this in May, and by November, it's supposed to be
Gonna be done.
substantially complete. They're not saying 100, but substantially by November.
That's lawyer talk. You know that. Thank you, Mayor.
We
That's
have
all
a
I
few of
have.
those up.
On that note, what about the firehouse? We have any update on that one?
Firehouse, they just disconnected the gas on Friday. Demo, I think, is scheduled for February the 13th.
Oh, great.
Cavnanian's been all over public service because they've had a contractor since probably a few months waiting to go in there. Dakota Construction is doing the demolition for them. They've been waiting to get that done, so their contractor's on their back to get it done. It's tentatively scheduled for the 13th of February, I believe.
That's awesome.
That'll be knocked
Good.
out at that point.
Great. And the other question I had is, have you made any progress on a joint meeting with the Board of Education?
As soon as I get done with the budget.
Okay.
We do the budget hearings, I'll talk to Mr. Featherman, and we'll set that date.
The items that we discussed, and I know I always bring this up, and I hate to always be, the one that brings the conversation down, but the items we discussed are all great, a community center and buying property to do things to better our community, but we have to keep in mind that and I'm very interested in having this meeting with the Board of Education to get their thoughts. We're going to have a potential shortage of schools and school facilities coming up once Hilltop is up and running. So we have to keep that in mind. I've said it both as a councilman, as a deputy mayor, as a mayor, and as a member of the Board of Education. If our town doesn't have the facilities to house and educate our children, then we don't have much of a town. All the things that we talk about, are great, but I think that, and the fact that we are now going to get a list, I think that's terrific, because we can kind of put everything together, and I think you even mentioned last time, Mr. Tucci, we can't look at these things in a vacuum. We have to put them all on the table, and we have to figure out where our resources.
The big picture, not piecemeal.
Right. So I thank you for putting that together, and then just, always, just as a reminder to everyone that we have to really, really keep that in mind as what, I know I'm only one vote, but I think that's a top priority.
Mayor, just for it was always my intention, and I'm glad you brought that up, that list would include whatever you want to call that, project with Board of Ed or sharing, whatever that is. It's always been, as one member, for me, with this whole Hilltop project, it was always going to be a sharing of funds in whatever capacity we end up deciding as a council and a board that works for the community. And that's definitely an item I would want to see on that list too. And it's a top priority. But thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. And that's all I have. So let's move on the agenda. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, there's one more thing. Oh, there's always one more thing, right? Okay, let me just find it. On January 17th, which is Thursday, the YMCA, let me just pull up my email. The YMCA is having a leadership forum and strategic planning meeting. It's on Thursday at the YMCA from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We were invited to join because the Y does give out almost $20,000 in scholarships per year to Cedar Grove residents. Actually, they gave over $20,000 last year to Cedar Grove residents. I declined the invitation because I have a work obligation that day and I can't get out of, but if everyone can just check your calendars and let me know, you don't have to let me know now, but let me know if anyone can attend the meeting. 8 to 10 this Thursday at the YMCA. That's all. Okay, moving on the consent agenda. Can I take those two items together, Ms. Stutz?
You may.
7A and 7B to consider resolution concerning approval of the raffle application for the Memorial Middle School FSA. And item 7B to consider resolution concerning the approval of the raffle application for the Cedar Grove Elks.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Quindeiros?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Canelo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Verga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Under new business, item 8A to consider resolution concerning 2019 temporary budget.
Be it resolved that the following shall constitute the temporary budget for the Township of Cedar Grove for fiscal year 2019.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can't do
So moved.
Sorry.
Second.
Okay. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Quindeiros?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Canelo?
Yes.
You guys answer each other?
Deputy Mayor Vargo.
Yes.
Mayor Sakala.
Yes.
Same.
Item 8B, to consider resolution concerning the 2019 cash management plan.
Be it resolved that the following shall constitute the cash management plan for the Township of Cedar Grove with the year 2019.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8C, to consider resolution concerning rate of interest on delinquent payment of taxes.
Be it resolved that the tax collector is hereby authorized to allow a period of 10 days grace from the quarterly tax due date before charging interest, and that rate of interest be as follows: 8% per annum on the first $1,500 of delinquency, 18% per annum on any amount in excess of $1,500, and an additional 6% penalty for a delinquency over $10,000 if not paid prior to the end of the calendar year.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8D, to consider resolution concerning tax sale certificate redemption fee.
Be it resolved that there shall be a fee of $50 assessed for the redemption of a tax sale certificate after 2 calculations.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8E, to consider resolution concerning petty cash funds.
Be it resolved that the petty cash funds be established in the aggregate amount of $480.
May I
Motion
have-
to approve.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8F, to consider resolution concerning submission of 2019 MAC grant application.
Be it resolved that the council does hereby authorize the submission of the strategic plan for the Cedar Grove Municipal Alliance grant for fiscal year 2019.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor, just under discussion, Mr. Tucci, can you just explain for the council edification what the application is and for the dollar amount?
It's been the same dollar amount, I think it's $20,865. And what happens is the township donates in-kind services, and that's how we put on all the programs throughout the town. The movies in the park, I mean, there's various programs that go on all the time through this program. And the participants and the people that run it are fabulous.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci.
May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8G, to consider resolution concerning purchase of dump truck through National Cooperative.
Be it resolved that the council authorizes the purchase through Sourcewell to purchase a 10 cubic yard dump truck with spreader and plow and parts and accessory for the Department of Public Works.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, Mayor.
Any discussion?
Yes, this is the dump truck that you approved in the capital improvement ordinance last year. It was $185,000. This is a very, very large dump truck with salt spreader, all stainless steel, and we're buying it through cooperative because we save money rather than go out to bid.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Camburis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tinella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8H, to consider resolution concerning purchase of utility vehicles through Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council.
Be it resolved that the council authorizes the purchase through Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council Contract 15C for the acquisition of 2 utility vehicles for the Department of Public Works.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, this are for the purchase of 2 vehicles for the police department. we had to get them this time of year because Ford stopped manufacturing and won't start up the line again until March, which means we wouldn't get new vehicles until July or August of the year. These were the last two that were on Route 23 Ford, and we were able to get them through the cooperative purchase. But that's what that is, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conduras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8I, to consider resolution concerning purchase of utility service / truck bodies through Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council. Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mrs. Stats.
Be it resolved that the council authorizes the purchase through the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council.
Is there a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Second, Mayor.
Is there any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conduras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 8J, to consider resolution concerning the 2019 DPW employee salary.
Be it resolved that the salary listed below shall constitute the salary for the employee listed below for 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second, Mayor.
Any discussion?
Yes, this is a corrective resolution. What happened in the salary ordinance and resolution that we did at the end of December, inadvertently, this gentleman, his salary remained the same. Everybody else got an increase but him, and he was entitled to it. So this corrects that deficiency.
Thank you, Mr. Tucci. May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conduras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 9, approval of bills.
Be it resolved that the summary of bills, having been duly audited and found correct, are hereby ordered paid in the amount of $841,380.27.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conduras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 10A, under contracts and agreements, to consider resolution authorizing execution of contract with the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management.
Be it resolved that the council authorizes the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management and the township.
Is there a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Second, Mayor.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, this is the item we had discussion on previously regarding the memo from the fire chief regarding us joining the New Jersey Incident Command Management Team. This is just allowing us authorization to sign the agreement.
May I have roll call, please?
Councilman Conduras?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Varga?
Yes.
Mayor Sakala?
Yes. Item 11, the meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on or off the agenda concerning township business. Good evening, Ms. Hartwick. Yes, please, thank you.
Good evening, Kate Hartwig, representative for the County of Essex. The first thing I wanted to mention is that the county's Deer Management Program is beginning this week, and the schedule has changed a bit from years previous. In the past, we've divided up the weeks between South Mountain Reservation and Hilltop. This year, all of the Deer Management Program dates for Hilltop are on Thursdays. So it will be every Thursday beginning in January, running through February with a inclement weather day, I believe the first week of March. The signs are already posted and notifications went out to the mailing list last month. Second is the Essex County Turtleback Zoo South Mountain Recreation Complex. We'll be having a job fair on Saturday, January 26th. It is for part-time work through the season. Anybody who's 18 or older is eligible, and we have all kinds of positions available. And I encourage any, especially younger residents who are looking for part-time work to come out to the job fair to apply. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Tara Diamore. I live at 48 Beach Street, and I'm here regarding a late fee on my water bill. I was told that I need to come to the town council to discuss it. On Saturday, October 20th, I received a notice stating that I was past due on my third quarter water bill. I was outside with my neighbor, and she received the same letter, and we both realized we never received our third quarter water bill. So I called the town, and I asked what I needed to do to have this fee removed. The clerk stated that I needed to write a letter to the mayor and ask that it be waived. On December 1st, I never heard anything regarding my letter or whether it was waived, but I got my fourth quarter water bill, and it stated that I was $31.35 in arrears. So I called the town again, and I asked what I needed to do, and they told me that I need to suck it up and pay it. And I said, I feel like that if you look at my past payment history, I've paid all my bills, my tax bills, my water bills in the 24 years that I've been here. I've never had a late fee. So I then asked for a list of everybody that was charged a late fee for the third quarter. And in my immediate area of my neighborhood, there was 21 people that were charged late fees. I did not go knocking on everyone's doors to ask them if they received their bill or not. But I do know for a fact that 54 Beach Street and myself, 48 Beach Street, did not receive their third quarter. So I asked what was my next step. They told me that it had not gone in front of the town council yet. They did not make a formal decision of whether my fee would be waived. On December 24th, I then received a letter from William Homa stating that the 11/19 town council meeting discussed my request to deny the fee. And it was denied, but I have the November 19th minutes, which I requested from the town council, and there's no discussion of whether there was anything discussed about my fee being waived. And I just feel that it's a principle of the matter. I never received my bill. If you look at my past payment history, you can see that I have always paid my bills on time. I take pride in paying my bills on time. And I just think that as a resident of Cedar Grove for 24 years, I deserve some leeway here, stating, like, whether it was the post office fault or whether it was the town council's fault. I think that, I know it wasn't my fault. And I just think that I deserve a little bit of consideration for having this late fee waived. And that's my request.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Mrs. Diamore.
Mrs. Diamore, thank you. And I did receive your emails. At that November 19th meeting, and maybe Mr. Tucci can enlighten us a little more, or add to what I'm going to say. At that meeting, Mr. Homa is the one who initially reviews these requests. He makes recommendations to the town council. Our policy our policy is that if somebody is late and they are late because they say that they didn't receive their bill, that's not a reason for us to waive the late fee. We waive it generally. Again, that's not the good word. That's not a good word. We waive it in incidences of bereavement.
That's what they told me. I have to be dead in order to be waived.
Well, not you, but God forbid there was an incident in your family or somebody that caused a situation for there to be a delay in you getting your bill paid. That's the only time that it's considered. And here's why. And I totally understand that it was somebody. It was probably in this case somebody else's mistake, the post office or somebody. But every time a late fee goes out, if we were to approve your waiver of the late fee, then what's stopping the next person who received it and just didn't pay it to say, hey, I didn't receive it, waive my late fee?
Right, but that's why there's a thing of looking at people's history, of payments. And I can pull out every bill that I have in 24 years and show you when I paid them and when they were cash, and that they were all on time.
Yeah.
I can bring that all in front of you.
I'm
But
sure.
That's the kind of person I am. I'm very organized, and I pay my bills on time. And I think that I deserve that in 24 years of paying my bills on time, knowing the fact that I did not receive my bill, and neither did my next door neighbor. Whether it was the post office or not, I think there should be a consideration. I don't think it should just be death.
I appreciate your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Tucci. Is there any way once the council makes a determination on Mr. Homa's recommendation, that can be appealed or brought up for discussion or approval?
Normally, that's, his recommendation and your actions are the finality. If you want to take a look at it again and look at the history, you can ask for that information. If you want to reconsider it, but normally, once it's reviewed, that's it.
What I'm going to ask is if you would provide to me your history as you are indicating to me about the payment of the bills, and I'm not going to make any promises to you from here, but except for this, at our next staff meeting, which is 2 weeks from tonight, I will, after you provide that to me, I will bring it to the council's attention, and we will talk about it.
Mayor,
And
not to inconvenience the resident, but Mr. Homa has all the history. He can give you the history
Okay.
on plate, so you really don't.
that's fine. Then can you have Mr.
I
Homa
can have him
provide
do the
that to us?
report with the history.
Even better. You don't have to provide it to us. We'll have Mr. Homa do
Just
that.
not to inconvenience her.
Okay.
So I
And-
come back here in 2 weeks?
No, well, you don't have to come back. We're going to have a staff meeting. If you want to come, you can come. But after the staff meeting, either myself, Mr. Tucci, or Ms. Stutz will contact you. And as I said, no promises, but we will discuss what you have brought to our attention
That's all
tonight
I ask.
and your payment history and the effect of making an exception in one case and not others, and make a determination as to what we'll do.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Any other residents wishing to be heard? Mr. DeVico? Nothing this evening? You sure? Oh, good for you. Okay, then, let me just get my agenda up here. I think that we're going to be done, right? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, Mayor.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Converas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Tanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wargo?
Yes.
Mayor Sekela?
Yes, the meeting is adjourned. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks.